Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm Kirk Henderson, joined as always by Josh Bowe. It's about 5 minutes after 10 o'clock on Sunday night, June 9th. The Dallas Mavericks fell to the Boston Celtics in Game 2 of the NBA Finals, 105-98. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Can we do a quick mic check? You sound a little...
It's because my mic was way the fuck over there. There we go.
Yeah, YouTube, get mad at Kirk now for having the shitty microphone.
Sorry about
me. That's right.
Well, I'm going on TV in the morning in Austin, and I was trying to get my setup ready for that because I'm just going to go to bed after this. So
I probably need to write something about this, but that was...
I mean, what do you write? The Dallas Mavericks blew the opportunity that they had in this game. Let's just kind of walk through this. Mavericks came out looking a little better. Frankly, Luka's shot making was ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous in the first half. Kyrie's was pretty good in the first quarter. And then he died. If somebody knows where he is, if there's a milk carton ad we can put out for Kyrie, that'd be good. And the Mavericks sort of hung around. The Celtics made a couple of just bonkers shots. One right at the end of the first quarter, only for Josh Green to somehow bait the Celtics into fouling him for three. And then what else happened? Pretty awesome. End of third quarter heave. Pretty well defended at that. The Celtics,
PJ Washington miss at the end near the
end. Let's just kind of walk through the game. Here. So the Mavericks ended up, I think they're up 28-25 after one quarter. Played pretty well. Played ahead over their skis. You're just kind of waiting for the Celtics to drop a hammer. I think the Celtics went 1 of 9 for 3 in the first quarter, and that'll really help. Just sort of keep the Mavericks. That'll help keep the Mavericks ahead when the Celtics cannot score. In the second quarter, the Celtics inched ahead to a 54-51 lead, and it really felt frustrating if you're watching the game that the Mavericks weren't up. They had opportunities to get ahead in the second quarter, and they just didn't. We're going to go through why. I would say that every other Dallas Mavericks player, more or less, Gafford probably gets a pass. Dante Exum gets a pass. We can discuss whether you feel PJ Washington maybe gets a pass, but I was very disappointed in most of the Mavericks roster tonight. Third quarter comes along, the Mavericks punch. The Celtics, I think, were pretty much ready to boat race them. It was 13 points at one point, their lead. And then the Mavericks worked it all the way back down to it was 80-74, and Peyton Pritchard hit a 34-footer at the buzzer. Then after that, fourth quarter kind of rolls around. The Mavericks are punching. They get the lead down to 8. Celtics call a timeout. Celtics get the lead back up to 12. Mavericks work the lead down to 8. And this is primarily, honestly, through Kyrie Irving, Daniel Gafford play, because Luka was flat out of gas in the fourth quarter, offensively at least. And the Mavericks get the ball. The kind of back-breaking series of plays was at the 4:40 mark. The Celtics took a timeout. They come back out. The Mavericks defend. The Mavericks actually defended and get the ball with a chance to cut into the lead further. PJ Washington gets the ball in the advance, dribbles to half court, stops with one foot on either side of the line, and decides to pass the ball backwards to Luka. And Luka, I don't know if he couldn't tell where PJ's feet were. It wouldn't have been a backcourt violation.
He had time.
It also wouldn't have been a 16-second thing, but Luka just, the combination, the two players make a mistake. They throw the ball backwards. The ball ends up in the Celtics' hands. They drill a three. And then on the ensuing possession, Kyrie Irving takes another one of his missed threes. He is now 0 for 8 on the series. Then the Celtics come down and hit another three. The Mavericks are all of a sudden down 14. This is within 2 possessions. They went down from being down 8 to being down 14 with 3 minutes left. The Mavericks make another run. They get the ball down. They get the lead down to 5. Luka Doncic drives on an and one. The lead goes from 8 to 5 points. The Mavericks defend again. Kyrie Irving makes a really nice pass to PJ Washington. PJ Washington gets at least, I didn't hear this because I can't really handle this announce crew, so I lowered my ball all the way down. What I saw PJ Washington slow up and get blocked from behind. What the announce crew saw was Jaylen Brown push PJ Washington in the back, which is why he went soaring into the crowd. Either way, no call. Celtics come down. Maxi Kleber gets absolutely cooked by Jaylen Brown. I can't wait to talk about Maxi because Maxi, who had been such an important element to this team down the stretch, has just looked fundamentally horrendous. And the game was over at that point. Celtics win 105-98, and kind of here we are.
Yeah, it was a difficult loss. You look at the Celtics and they shoot 10 of 39 from 3, 25.6%. And I think if you told every single Mavericks fan that before the game started, they would have felt very, very confident that the Mavericks would have won the game. And then the Mavericks somehow shot worse, 6 of 26, 23% to the Celtics, 25.6%. So Kyrie goes 0 of 3 from 3, only 3 attempts, screams. And I know someone made fun of me about saying, this number is bigger than the other because it was being literal. But again, the number of attempts shoots out to me more than the number of makes, although the number of makes is 0, and that's never good. It was, I think the best way to summarize this game and really this series, and we can kind of work backward from here because this has got to be the main talking point, especially after this game, is when the Celtics defensive game plan boils down to, from a broad level, obviously there's more into it when we dig down deeper, but when broadly it boils down to, we're going to dare your 2 stars to outscore us. And for the Mavericks, one of their 2 stars has completely no-showed for the most part. It's kind of hard to beat that type of defense if one of your stars isn't going to make shots. So if one of your stars isn't going to make shots, they have to, 1, find a way to get him to make shots, or 2, they need to do something else besides hoping that their stars can make shots and bail them out, because Kyrie Irving has probably played 2 of his worst playoff games in these 2 finals games.
Just missing shots.
Yeah,
he's horror. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, I wanted to say these are 2 of his worst playoff games, but he's had a 9 2 of 8 game.
He's played bad defense too.
Yeah.
The Celtics are a tough guard for him, but
they were, and that, remember how it looked for him the last time he was in the playoffs was against the Celtics when he was with Brooklyn the year before he got traded to Dallas, and he had it was a sweep, and I think he had 2 good games, and then he had 2 really bad games. And we've said for a long time, the times that he does struggle is he struggles against length. And he averaged 15 points per game in the OKC series, although he shot pretty well from 3, but he didn't score a ton. Length does bother. If something bothers him, it's length, and Boston had a lot of length. I know Minnesota had a lot of length, in the front court, but they had Mike Conley and some other guys for him to get around. Boston just plays big. Everyone they play is big. Even Drew Holiday and Derek White. Those are big guards, both weight wise and length wise and height wise. So it's been a struggle, and he's missing shots, and he looks engaged. This isn't I don't think he's checked out. I don't think he's not hustling. I don't think this is an effort thing. He's just the shots that he normally makes, he is missing them.
And it becomes a, this is too old a reference for many people, but I've done it before. There's the wonderful scene in the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves, where the players start talking about the concept of quicksand, where you get in and you're forcing it and you're pressing, and all of a sudden you're in over your head and you can't find your way out. That's kind of how I feel about Kyrie right now. The 0 for 8 on 3 is the part that's really like, ooh.
Yeah, they're not going to win a game this series if he doesn't make a 3-pointer, and that's not a controversial thing to say, right?
That is if Kyrie Irving does not make a 3, Dallas will not win a game. Like, that is an uncontroversial statement.
Because he's their off-ball engine. Like, say what you will about the Mavericks' offensive process, and I know there are a lot of people that do not like the heliocentrism and how much Luka controls the ball.
Right.
Well, you look at the roster, and you're looking for off-ball movement that's not from your bigs, because it's pretty clear the lob game is just not going to be there in this series. Although Gafford did have a good game, because I think we can talk about this later about a really nice adjustment they made coming out of halftime with Gafford. So if the lob game's not there, where's your off-ball movement coming from? Derek Jones Jr., PJ Washington, Josh Green. Like, the Celtics do not care if those guys are running off screens or off ball. Like, that's not causing havoc. Kyrie causes havoc off ball, and I've said this on this podcast. I think outside of Steph Curry, he can be the most dangerous off ball player in the NBA. Because the thing about Kyrie, and it's the thing about Steph, and it differentiates a lot of these stars that move off the ball. Clay, before his body kind of failed him, is off-ball work is tough when you get to the stature that these guys get to, like a Steph or a Clay or a Kyrie, when you're an all-star, all-NBA level player, because off-ball, it's a lot of running. Like, it's going through screens, it's going through contact. You're running, you're putting a lot of mileage on your body. It's hard work, offensively. And that's why it's so special when these really talented guys do off-ball movement, because it's so deadly. And that's why I think Luka and Kyrie have meshed so well since Kyrie's been traded to Dallas, is because that's kind of what Luka needed, was just like, his running mate to be someone that could really do damage off the ball when Luka has the ball and cause chaos and all this stuff. And it's just, if he's not making threes, like, that just really saps a lot of what Kyrie can bring off the ball and what this Mavericks offense can do. Like, because the Celtics are starting to not worry about it. And that just causes a trickle-down effect, because you're just not going to get good looks for your other players, especially from the perimeter, if Kyrie isn't forcing guys to get out of their comfort zone by running around the floor. And we saw him do that in the Minnesota series, like wear Anthony Edwards out by running him off screen.
There's nobody to run around when you just switch every screen, though.
Right, that's true. That's what makes the Celtics really good too.
Yeah,
but yeah, he has to show up.
I think you like. I assume a lot of people. Like, I take issue with the missed free throws. I take issue with Maxi Kleber existing right now. And I take issue with Josh Green not hitting any. Was he 1 of 3? What was he see? Let me see here.
I mean, Kirk, only 2 non-Luka Mavericks made threes tonight.
Yeah, like guys, like, and PJ Washington like hit his first one and then bricked his first 4. Like, I just go through this, and shout out to Derek Jones Jr. for not driving into 19 people. So I guess if we're like grading on a curve, he played a better game. But price tag for Derek Jones is right now. It's okay. Maybe they'll play better when they go home. I don't know.
They should.
This is one of these games.
Surprised if those 2 guys make more threes in game 3. That wouldn't show.
Like, I watched this. I invited some of the kids that I'm basketball team that I'm attempting to coach. And their parents over, and we're like watching the game, and like, it's just one of these games where you're watching, you're explaining to the more casual Mavs fans. They're like, somebody asked, was like, are they normally this bad? It's like, no, they're not normally this bad, but it's like, I'm looking at this box score, and it's like, number one, I don't remember how is Jaden Hardy a -6 in 2 minutes? What the hell happened?
I guess they made 2 threes in 2 minutes.
Oh my god! Like, that had to have been it. Like, when he went in, I need to go look at this.
That's probably what it was, and that was it for him. But yeah, it's like, tough, and it's funny because it's like the storyline is like Luka's teammates couldn't hit shots, and they had 5 players in double figures, which is actually like they, despite how awful the shooting was, they still managed to kind of manufacture some points, and a lot of it's Luka, obviously, because Luka had a really good shooting game. But
Luka had such a good first half of shooting that any long-term Mavericks fan understood that Luka's legs were likely to go at the way that he was playing. I mean, Luka played 42 minutes. He was a -3 in those 42 minutes. Okay. That means in the other 6 minutes, they lost by 4. Like Luka couldn't come off the floor in this game, was a part of this. And so it's just, of course I would love to see Luka, and Luka did. He scored an and one towards the end, but his legs were not in the shots as the game was going on. I mean, the Celtics game plan was to test Luka, and I think if you were to go probably play by play, you could find yourself a handful of really good defensive plays from Luka, and then a handful of oh no.
Yeah, his defense was very hot cold. Like it was all or nothing for him.
And I'm sorry. The way it's hard for me to get too bothered at that with the way this Mavericks defense is designed. Like it is designed to stop stuff in the paint, but then they're getting stretched to the corners. And so they're giving up stuff in the paint as a result of that stretch. Like it is what the Celtics do. And so I'm kind of,
and it's like, what do you do?
yeah. And I'm not as hot as I normally am outside of guys, play a little better. This was the game to steal. And I think run into issues because the Celtics are not going to shoot 10 for 39. They're just not,
Yeah. This was the game to steal for sure.
This was the one to take away, and they just couldn't do it. And that should really, really alarm everyone. I don't want to be negative about this because I think that, of course, you could get, incandescent games from Kyrie and Luka 4 straight times. Of course you can. We've seen it. And, we got this one, I've never seen this guy before in the comments. And I'm fixing to block him just because he's being an idiot. But he says, without Kyrie, the Mavericks would be home by now. Well, yeah, of course. Of course. Kyrie's awesome. But he sucks right now.
Yeah, yes.
And so does it. So do the rest of them.
They're going to go home really quick if he doesn't change how he plays. They would have been home right now if he wasn't playing well. But also they're down 0-2 because he's not playing well.
Right. It's it's real simple. He's everybody shares some of the blame here. Basketball is a team sport, but you have a hierarchy. And when you're they're better players, or they're, the Celtics best top 5 played better than the Mavericks top 5 again. It's just where it goes. Sometimes bad things happen. Some bad luck stuff happens. The free throws is going to haunt me personally.
You make your free throws and it becomes a wildly different game that's for sure. Man, looking at Luka's shot chart, first half he had 4 paint attempts, and the second half he had 1. And I really felt like whatever he had in the chamber, because tack on another injury for him with the chest thoracic contusion that he got when he took the Jaylen Brown charge in game 1. Add that to the knee, add that to the ankle. The first half really felt like him just being this is what I got. And the second half, he wasn't awful, but you could really see that he needed someone to pick, he needed the second half Kyrie that he normally gets. I almost wonder if that went into kind of how he paced himself in this game. And of course, some of it is how the Celtics are guarding him. Because again, the Celtics want him to shoot as many times as possible. They don't want him to pass.
Right.
I wonder if he knew that, and knowing that Kyrie has the proclivity to blow up in the second half, I almost wonder if he's okay, I'm gonna empty the chamber in this first half, and then hopefully Kyrie can carry us home. Because the second half, he just didn't look the same, and that's when you started to think.
Well, to a certain extent, in the fourth quarter, I thought Kyrie made a lot of nice plays. I mean, he ended up with 6 assists. He and Gafford had a nice thing going, but it wasn't enough. And you pair that with some defensive lapses for the team, and I'm sorry, I'm going to be thinking about that PJ Washington thing at half court for a long time. I just am. That's the sort of thing where it's homie, advance the ball 3 more dribbles, get to the right wing, and then pass it to Luka. But it was, I don't know. It was really rough. I mean, again, yeah. Somebody says in the comments, it felt too little too late. For sure. There was a lot of too little too late in this. But I mean, that's where it also felt like the Celtics had some incredible shot making. I mean, there was one, Derek White, jumper that was like, oh my God, from the left wing over like two guys.
But it's
just
funny
like
they had some incredible shot making, but they also missed so many like open threes. Like if Jason Tatum had a normal shooting game, they would have probably won this game by a lot of points. And I guess, and I know a lot of people counter that, well, the Mavericks didn't shoot well either. And I'm like, well, yeah, but the Boston not shooting well from three, like that's what they're built on. Like this Mavericks team, which is why we've talked about how incredible this season's been. They don't need threes to win anymore because the way that they've been winning for the last 3 months has been an elite paint shutting down defense. And then you've got two really awesome shot makers. Like they've been winning some games in this playoff run, not shooting well from three. Like Boston very much is a team that you would think kind of like the three is their strongest weapon, I think.
Yeah.
Offensively. Sure. So that's why it's such a big deal to see Boston win this game when they're not shooting well from three, even though the Mavericks didn't shoot well from three either. Because I wouldn't be surprised if the Mavericks shot poorly from three again in game three, but they also like won because their defense is all about shutting down the paint. And again, that's we're kind of going all over here, but the Celtics shot 28-27 in the paint. And to me, that's been kind of low key because they were 15 of 15 at the rim in game one, 28-27 at the rim tonight. This was the best rim protecting defense in the NBA, I felt, in the playoffs last 3 months. They're maybe top two, but like in terms of field goal percentage at the rim defensively, the Mavericks were like 1 or 2 since March. And the Celtics are scoring at ease. And yeah, that's because they're so much more deadly from three. You've got your center guarding, Drew Holiday, so they're farther away from the rim. It's harder to rotate. But also the Mavericks are just not guarding drives as well as they were before, and that's also because the Celtics have so many good, like they just have so many good players. The Mavericks defense was so good. They're able to kind of find your weak point and highlight it. And the Celtics is just like, where's the weak point? Because Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, who am I leaving out? Drew Holiday. Like these guys have so much more juice with the ball. There's no Josh Giddey on the Celtics team. There's no Jaden McDaniels on the Celtics team. There's no Amir Coffey.
No, it's real 5 out. Like
it's tough, and that doesn't invalidate anything about what the Mavericks do because there's not a lot of teams like this Boston team.
Nobody can play like this, dude.
Which is why they have the fourth greatest net. Like this is an historically ridiculous team that you just don't see very often. Hence their numbers and how great they've been all season. Like when you look at some of the greatest individual seasons of all time, that's why they're up there. Like that teams like this just don't exist.
YouTube is trying to censor you by turning off your camera, Josh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
was
moving my microphone.
You moved your mouse.
Yeah. See, like I didn't even change the plug. I don't think StreamYard likes my webcam.
This is a great.
It's still on, but it's still. Yeah.
This is a great and informative comment because Don Ramon said something here and he admitted this, and this is a fantastic comment because it's correct. He says, "I didn't know Derek White was such a good player." And that's like that correct. Like if you didn't know, I don't blame you for not knowing. If you're not watching Eastern Conference basketball, it's like the Celtics just have 4 or 5 guys that are capable of doing lots of different things. And it's hard to defend.
It's very hard to defend. And I thought the Mavericks had some stretch. Like, by the way, the Celtics, if I'm looking at this right, let me see how many points they had. Hold on. I'm going to look. They scored 113 points per 100 possessions in this game. That's not an elite. Like the Mavericks defense actually did some things in this game. But they just kept giving up points at the rim and they gave up open threes and then Boston made just enough. The Mavericks offense was real doo-doo. And that's kind of, the offense is really easy to talk about because I think offense is easier to talk about than defense. Sure. And yeah, if we're like, what's the biggest thing? It's like, yeah, offense. Lucas teammates need to hit more shots. They need to be a little bit more creative. I think with this Boston defense, that's just not giving up the corner and not giving up the lob. Yeah, that's a big deal. But defensively, like they got to defend the point of attack so much better than they've been doing.
I mean, the last play, the last score of the game is a textbook example of what we're talking about. Back in the day, we used to lose our minds. Well, I used to lose my mind about how the Mavericks didn't have a single guy that could guard like a single dribble action. Love me some Dorian Finney-Smith Jr., but that guy, you take one hard dribble at his right foot and he's backpedaling and you're past him. That goes with almost every Maverick. And what's been so incredible to watch since the All-Star break is, due to, honestly, and we got to be candid about this, due to the change in officiating.
Yeah, they beat the shit out of people.
They beat the shit out of people. And the Celtics spread you out so much that you just can't beat the hell out of anybody anymore. Like it doesn't matter, because it's like what Maxey did on this drive. And guys, I implore you to go watch this thing again. They are 28 feet away from the basket, and Maxey is playing him to go left. He goes left anyways and goes around Maxey in one dribble. One dribble. Now, I'm frustrated because Maxey's a better defender in this, but this is sort of indicative of what the Celtics do to you, where because there's not any help defense nearby. Like any help defense is going to result in Jaylen Brown making a pretty simple pass for a three. I mean, it's you go look at Jason Tatum, some of his assists tonight. For every great pass he makes, he also has a pretty easy dump off to somebody because there's just someone always open. Like that's the nature of it. You with 5 guys cannot realistically defend that much space. I've heard, a couple of my friends well, the Wolves could have done it, and like fuck out of here. Rudy Gobert is covering corner to corner. Grow up.
No, that's tough. Yeah, and you've got I saw with Gafford, they had some successful defensive possessions with him on Drew, but it was some really crazy. He made some really crazy closeouts, even though he was guarding Drew. He covered a lot. Gafford covered more ground defensively tonight than I think he's done most of the playoffs, because I think that's actually been his weakness, has been covering a lot of ground defensively. He's really good at the rim, but when you take him away from the paint, it's been tough. He's actually been better at it than Lively has, I think, this series. And that's just what makes Boston so tough. It's okay, you got your centers on Drew, but Drew Holiday is not Josh Giddey. I can't implore that enough. Drew Holiday scored 26 points and missed 3 shots. He took 14 of them. He had 11 rebounds. He is a really good player. And the Mavericks' ability to kind of siphon off your weak point, they just don't have that. And yeah, normally the bigs would be camped in the paint, because most NBA teams give you one guy you can sag off of, and Boston just doesn't do it. I also thought Boston is just so well prepared. And I know Joe Mazzulla gets a lot of crap, because he kind of says some weird things, but
he says earnest things.
He's got these guys prepared. They know exactly what they need to be doing. Yes, sometimes Boston gets a little weird. They get a little lazy with their offense. That's what we saw in the fourth quarter. And we could talk about how, that 9-0 run in the final 2 minutes that made it a 14-point game to a 5-point game real fast. That's kind of what everyone's been talking about, is get Boston into these clutch situations, and all of a sudden they just stop driving and they start settling for Jason Tatum fadeaway twos. That's why you want to get the game close in the fourth, is because for whatever reason Boston kind of gets a little lazy with their offense and stops going to what works.
Right.
But Drew Holiday,
you can see it in those last minutes. They get up 14, and then they could have just put the hammer down, but they're let's try to run some prevent offense.
Yeah, they get real. They are susceptible to that real fast. But you think Drew Holiday scores, how many did he score? He scored 26 points, and you're the Mavericks must have just dared him to shoot, and he hit 7 threes or whatever. Or
11 of 14. It's amazing.
11 of 14. Only 2 made threes. He was doing all of his damage. He was 8 of 8 in the restricted area. He was in the dunker spot.
That little
the way that they moved him around inside the arc was very smart, and the Mavericks didn't have an answer for it.
That's right. Okay, we've been talking, and I forgot to take a break. So, those of you who are here listening, thank you so much for coming over to Pod Maverick. We record after every game, and there might not be too many of those left. We also record a secondary show following, where you can come and talk a little basketball with me. It's 10:30 on a Sunday night. I have to be up early, but I am willing to hang out for a little while if folks want to get some stuff off their chest. Those of you who are listening on audio streams, thank you so much. Please leave a review. Shoot me an email if you want. Love listening to what you guys have to say. Josh and I are going to insert some audio ads real quick, and we will be right back. All right. Let's see here. We got some super chats I want to shout out. So we have Seven Harry Lime says White deserves a pat on the back for that block. Brown was really pushing to get down there and help him. It's fantastic phraseology.
There you go.
Fantastic phraseology. Yeah, I'm disappointed in that missed call too, but I don't think it needed to be a missed call. Like the Mavericks shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. Henry Diesel said, I would like to apologize. Never will I out Kyrie and Steph convos again. Officially off the bandwagon. Kobe, hashtag Kobe would be disappointed. Don't do that. Kyrie will be fine. Kyrie will be fine. Michael Scott says Kyrie is playing like he just found out the world isn't flat. Wade Lamb says Kirk is on TV. All we need to recover from in these first 2 games. If you're going to be physically in Austin, hit me up and I'll buy you all the drinks you need after watching these games. Nope, just doing it from my computer here. Sorry, Wade. Zachary says Milwaukee gave up Drew like he wasn't the reason they won a championship. Strong take. Really like that. My man Cowboy says blame goes all the way around. Kid didn't use the best rotations. The Mavs kept shooting unnecessary threes, and the backup guards were a no-show. Hey, Dante Exum hit a 3 off of one of the cooler passes we've seen Luka Doncic make this finals. That was like the wraparound pass from the left. He drove from the left wing, got all the way around the left baseline, and threw a wraparound pass around 2 guys that went back out to the left wing. Like it just some silly stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, you got some folks in the chat. Love talking defensive stuff. And I think when the Mavericks defense, we talked about this, we got to emphasize it again. When the team defensive scheme is built to block off the paint and the other team doesn't necessarily care about the paint unless it's there for the taking.
But then scores at the paint anyway. Like they made 20 shots at the rim.
All their points in the rim. Yeah.
So like if they're still scoring at the rim, like that's the thing that the Mavericks have to be better about the drive. I'm gonna look this up after we because I can't look this up live because it'll take me way too long. I don't can't filibuster. The Mavericks were guarding drives really well against OKC and against Minnesota, and again because they can keep their bigs near the rim a lot easier than they can against Boston. I would love to see the drive numbers. Like, what are the Celtics shooting on drives in this series? Because it feels like it's high. And I feel like the point blank, like the thing that's so probably maddening as a Mavs fan watching this is Boston doesn't run a lot of pick and rolls. So it's not like your coverage is getting broken because it's 2 guys not on the same page and a guy kind of just gets to the rim and your help defense isn't there. Like Boston is just straight up like one-on-one, no screen, like blowing by guys and guys that shouldn't be getting blown by. We're talking PJ Washington. Derek Jones Jr. got a couple of times, and then your bigs can't handle. I think one of the questions before this series was, man, Lively looks so good guarding at the level of the screen against the Wolves. Can he switch a little bit more against his Boston team? And I think the answer to that has been a resounding, not yet. He's finally looked like a 20-year-old rookie in this series, which is also another.
He's been really.
He's been a non-factor.
He's been so out of control. Like, all right, Porzingis fell down and flopped a little bit, but there's one drive, PJ Washington drive on a fast break dunk that was nullified because Derek Lively threw a really nice series of forearm shiver blocks right into KP's chest. And it's like, buddy, this is not a Gortat screen while everything is mixed up in the lane and there's nobody to see you doing it because there's too much for the refs to keep an eye on. There was that was a fast break and he just bowled him over. I just settle down is the main thing for him. I was really glad Gafford found something in the second half because otherwise it's like one of the Mavericks' strengths down the pike had been their big man play. And, with Maxi Kleber, God, somebody just showed me that Maxi full court fast, like that coast to coast Maxi Kleber layup attempt. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I saw it again. And it's the sort of stuff that's going to haunt my dreams. Like what are we doing?
They actually played pretty well with him at the 5 to close the game, like to make that 9-0 run. I'm pretty sure that was all Maxi at the 5, but yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, every role player had some very inexplicable plays because they're role players. That's kind of like, like Derek Jones Jr. is on a veteran minimum contract. Like how much can you really get mad at a guy like that compared to, Kyrie made as many threes in this game as Derek Jones Jr. did and Maxi Kleber and Josh Green. And that's, kind of circling back to, why I think that was probably the main reason they lost this game. I mean, you lose a game by 7 and Kyrie scores 16 on 7 of 18 shooting. Like that's real tough. That's real tough. Sorry to go back to Kyrie. I know we already talked about
Oh,
him.
that's fine. I mean, you look at this game and you got to kind of nitpick. Like it's the finals, and I sat on my game one analysis because I needed to sort of take it in. But the more I think, and just to sort of return to this, the Mavericks' unpreparedness in game ones is something that I think I would like to just contextualize. Maybe down the road, maybe now's not the time. But if you're constantly playing from a hole, that's not ideal. It's just not ideal. All right. And the Mavericks seeded game one almost immediately. It's they didn't look like they were remotely prepared to defend what Boston was doing. And I find that just rather unacceptable, to be quite honest. The matchup differences on a matchup by matchup basis are something that are hard to overcome. But as you saw in game two, the Mavericks can defend it a little better. Now, getting shelled, 7 made threes in the first quarter is difficult. Porzingis was absolutely outstanding. But there's other elements of what they did in that game that just don't make any sense. Like Nick Angstadt was showing some of these clips, like Derek Jones, driving into 3 guys on a fast break. It's just just don't get behind the 8 ball like this. Klotzman asked a good question. Why did Kidd wait until the third quarter to post Gafford on Tatum? He actually did it in the first quarter of game one a couple times, but Tatum, Gafford is not a traditional face, he's back to the basket guy. So I don't know. We're reaching the straws here. It's 36 minutes. I mean, I'm not
you want to talk about the one, I thought pretty good adjustment they made coming out of halftime with Gafford,
sure. Yeah.
Posting him up. How many times has Gafford posted? I mean, we could probably look it up, but he has not posted up a lot. I thought that was smart because one of the things that the Celtics are doing is, they're putting Tatum on the big, and a lot of other people have been talking about this. This is not a brilliant, unique observation, but Tatum's on the center, and that's taking away the lob threat because the Celtics just switch every screen when Gafford or Lively is setting it with Tatum because they don't care about that matchup. And then they're putting their big back near the rim. So it's like, okay, you want to run your pick and roll with your lob centers. Well, your center is going to be rolling into our center because our center is not guarding your center. He's playing on the backline help. And then, okay, you're going to run your pick and roll. If Tatum's guarding Gafford or Lively, okay, then let's use PJ Washington, who's being guarded by your center. Let's put him in the pick and roll. Okay, well, now he's rolling into your big who has to stand near the rim because Gafford and Lively aren't going to stand at the 3-point line. So that just makes it tough. And I thought a good counter coming out of the second half was they were just like, all right, screw it, clear out Gafford, put Tatum on the block and score. And I think he scored he had 3 baskets in the second half that I think were just straight up post ups against Jason Tatum, like bully ball. And I was like, okay, that's a legitimate adjustment. And it kind of worked, and it kind of kept the Mavericks afloat because their offense they just needed something.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a pretty good spark. And I wonder if that's something, can that carry over into game 3? Is that something they try again? Because you almost wonder if Boston's like, okay, that's fine. You want to post up Gafford, and do something that's completely foreign to your normal offense. I wonder if Boston's going to even try to correct that, or just be like, yeah, try to post up Daniel Gafford 20 times a game if that's what you think is going to beat us. But it was still interesting. They tried something and it kind of worked.
Yeah, I felt just in final thoughts. I thought the refereeing was once again Tony Brothers as fuck for about 12 of the 48 minutes, where there was that one stretch where the Mavericks committed 3 personal fouls on one possession, and it's like, all right. And that was in the first quarter where the Celtics marched to the line for 10, they had 10 free throws, and I think they hit all 10. But after that, things really settled and evened out. There's way too much refs killing the flow of that game. That goes both ways to a certain extent. But I'm really curious because I don't want to do the thing. There's a couple of accounts on Twitter that just show videos of guys they really isolate, and you can cherry pick stuff. Basketball's a physical game. You're going to get hit. The Celtics, I feel at certain points on the perimeter are able to get away with a lot more physicality than the Mavericks can. Maybe that's just the strength of their defenders. Maybe that's just being at home. I'd be curious to see if the whistle goes like harshly in the other direction for the Mavericks. But I mean, you look at the overall fouls called, it's 17-15 in favor of the Celtics getting fewer at 15, but the free throws are the Mavericks shot 24, the Celtics shot 20.
I make your free throws.
like Luka a couple of times was really unhappy that he didn't get calls, which news at 11, everybody. But it's also like some of the missed free throws that the Mavericks had in this game were like, oh my god. Yeah, and that's not the first time. Like free throws have haunted this team in this postseason. And Brad Townsend, I don't know, it was after one of the Oklahoma City games. I think it was the game 3 where they lost. Did they lose game 3? Sounds right.
In which series?
No, they lost the Oklahoma City series.
They
lost game 4.
They lost game 4. They won game 3. Yeah.
And I remember there's like a Brad Townsend tweet where he shared something. It was like, yeah, they did not retain their free throw shooting coach, and like that's just going to be a thing. It's just going to be a thing. So
I want to get one because I can tell we're winding down. I know you want to get to the live show. I wanted your opinion on Luka and his health. And like, this is something I noticed, and this is not even like, this is not a criticism at all. It's just something I noticed. Even in the first half when he was playing really well and he had that bonkers scoring first half, and basically, the only reason why the game was close in the first half, like he still didn't look right.
Nope.
Like he did not
downgraded the questionable this afternoon.
Yeah. Like he did not look like he was moving well at any point in the game. And then in the first half, I felt like he was just kind of pushing himself through it. And like, I don't know, adrenaline. I don't know what it was, but like his jumpers just looked flat, even though he was making them. And that's not, again, this isn't.
No, the shot making was nuts. He had a couple that I thought were misses that went in on like wonderful touches around the rim. And then those just stopped going in the third quarter.
Yeah. It's just like, he just never looked right.
He still hit 4 or 9 from 3, which feels weird.
I know. Like he still shot well, and that just goes to show, about Luka. I just watching him up and down the court, I was like, man, is this sustainable? Because he just doesn't look right, and like he has to be on the floor because when he's not on the floor, they get their bell rung. But it was just tough. Like I don't know if they can beat it. It was going to be difficult to beat the Celtics team, even if Luka's at full strength. If Luka is at 70. 60, 50, whatever percentage you want to put at it. It's just difficult to ask of so much of him to do that. And that's why, again, we'll just circle back to Kyrie needs to have a better game or they're not going to win this year.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, he's been injured on and off all playoffs. I don't think it impacted his play tonight other than the sense of by the fourth quarter, he was worn down. But I mean, that's quite literally the Celtics game plan. And if the Mavericks don't have the horses or don't have the guys to spell him for 10 minutes instead of 6, that's somebody, that's part
Luka did have 11 assists. So like, and I noticed in the second half, Boston put 2 on the ball a little bit more, which was kind of funny. I was like, why are you doing this? But it didn't really, it worked out for them because the Mavericks role players didn't make shots, but you look at it and they still only have 21 assists, which is not a good number. Like, anything under 25 usually for this Mavericks team is kind of a bad number because I think they averaged 25 in the regular season. So. But you notice, so Luka finally got some passes, he got some assists, and Kyrie Irving had 6, which is right around his number. But man, you look at Boston, they had 29 assists, and they had 6 guys with at least 2 assists.
Yeah,
all of their starters had at least 2 assists.
They only had 10 points on 10 offensive boards, like that. Yeah. That was where you could tell their threes weren't falling because it's like the reload threes.
Yeah, weren't falling. But then you look at the Mavericks, Luka 11 assists, Kyrie 6 assists. That's 17 of your 21 assists. The Mavericks just don't have guys that can keep the blender moving. You know what I mean? Like that's why Dante.
There's no blender if you're switching everything.
Right. But they don't have guys that can crack that because if there's this switching, that means you're going to have to attack one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And who are the one-on-one attackers on this team outside of Luka and Kyrie? Like that's kind of it. Yeah. There's just nowhere to go. That's why Exum not being a factor is huge because he was that. What do you like to call him? The third heat from 30 Rock. Like that was what he did in the regular season. And now it's kind of nowhere to be found.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll be back on Wednesday night. The Mavericks love how the Mavericks play at home Wednesday and Friday. That makes sense. After getting 2 days off between games 1 and 2 and 2 days off between games 2 and 3, they will get 1 day off between games 3 and 4, which I don't hate for our own actual purposes. I'm just grumpy because I coach an 8 a.m. basketball game on Saturday morning. So
you gotta get if you're still standing on 2 feet when this series is over.
We get these. I try not to acknowledge like dumb shit YouTube comments. The one player system doesn't work. Luka is Harden with an accent. Mark, shut the fuck up. James Harden never shot a mid-range shot in his life. That's why he aged like a banana on a countertop. My God, some of you people have no idea what you're watching, and you're morons. But I love you. Please like and subscribe. Okay, guys, I'm going to be hanging out for my second show. If you want to come talk shit to me or have a little chat about basketball, we can do either. I don't really care. This is fun. This is much more fun arguing with people and face-to-face than it is screaming at people online. Everybody be good. We will be back on Wednesday. I might do a show. I'm actually definitely going to do a show with my friend Jasmine Wimbish on Tuesday at some point.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, she's a CBS Sports. She's real smart. Probably has more to say than I will.
Fellow Jayhawk for me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. All right. Everybody be good. We will be back in a little while. Everybody hang out for the secondary live show. Go Mavs. Womp womp. Welcome to Pod Maverick presents Group Therapy, where we will talk out our feelings about the fact that the Dallas Mavericks are down 0-2 in the NBA Finals. Now, those of you who have listened to me for years know that I tend to come in hot and heavy, but for some reason I'm just having a hard time being too upset about this one because some of the things that occurred in this 105-98 loss really difficult to swallow, but at the same time, sometimes the ball's not going to bounce your way. The Celtics, shot horribly from three, 25%, but also hit like two of the craziest threes I've seen in the postseason. There was an incredible shot made by Derek White from like the left wing. And then that Peyton Pritchard bank shot was amazing. It's just, shit happens. Like basketball's fun. I had a fun time watching that game. It is what it is. So let's come talk with me. I got 6 people already waiting in the hopper. If you want to join and talk basketball with me, if you get denied on the chat entrance, it's because there's too many people in the waiting room. But if you're watching live on YouTube, go ahead and click into this. We're going to fly through some people because I don't want to stay up all night. Coming up first is my man, Sam. What's up, Sam?
What's up, Kirk? How you doing?
Okay, you're here early. Look at you.
Yeah, I just want to kind of get that out the way because I'm more annoyed than anything.
Right.
It's crazy because I don't want to say we have to play perfect to beat this team because I really don't think we have to play absolutely perfect. I mean, this team is beatable. Like the first game, they made all the threes, and then today they missed all the threes. But then Drew Holiday goes off for 26. So it's kind of like
not looking forward to going and viewing all of Drew's shots again and being like, it was really tough.
I mean, a lot of them he was cutting a lot to the basket, and they were just pump fakes. And man, this team does not know how to stay down on these pump fakes. They just go for it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because like whose 3-point shot are we blocking? Derek White and then Luka and then Daniel Gafford and then like half the team. Like what? Like stay down. Just get your hand up. Stay down.
Stay down. That's it. Like at this point, I get it. It's instinctive. You're trying to just deter the shots. I get it, but like, come on, y'all, stay down. But other than that, I mean, Luka, he did what he could. The turnovers are bad. The free throw shooting is bad. The series is not over by any means. I mean, you win game 3 and then it's a series again. It's just now you got to do something that only 4 or 5 teams have done in the last 31 years. When you go
I
down,
don't know. I just 0-2 is ugly. It's
I mean,
ugly.
the only solace that I have is that the Mavericks have done this before. Because that year we played Phoenix, we got destroyed in both games, and we somehow managed to win in 7. So at this point, I am just grasping at straws. I mean, just honest, like you're just trying to find anything. Hey, it can happen. The road team, series doesn't start till a road team wins a game. So maybe we come back to Dallas, and I mean, PJ wasn't even that bad today, all things considered. Like Kyrie, man, come on, bro. Like, come on, bro. Just give us an average game, and we're in both of these games. Like just average.
He'll hit something. He'll do something insane. I mean, there have been games in this playoffs where it's like, oh, all of a sudden the Mavs are down 25 and Kyrie then becomes like a water bug and just goes nuts. And it's like, Bubs, where was this when the game was close? Can we please? And I earnestly think this because I've seen covering Kyrie for a season, there have been stretches where he just couldn't buy a bucket. And then I don't know if you remember the stretch in January when Luka was out where Kyrie averaged like 35 and 10 for 5 games and looked like Christ reborn playing basketball. Do you remember this?
Oh, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's there. It's there for him. It's just, I don't know what it is about. Even this game, I mean, in the fourth quarter, there was just points where, okay, that Payton Pritchard 3, by the way, F that was ridiculous. That
was awesome. That's, what are you going to do?
Yeah, but it just got to the point where you cut it to 8, you cut it to 7, and it just couldn't get over.
Oh, and they punch in the mouth. Like, they called timeouts. Like, the way Missoula was calling timeouts when it got to 8 points, it happened 3 separate times. And it was like, oh, no. And then they'd come out and hit some crazy shit shot. And it's like, all right, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, Abbas they just besides like the first quarter where they went up 13-6, they just didn't have that run. Like if you just had one good run, you win the game. I feel like, and it just couldn't do it. Meanwhile, Boston, they'll have a 10-0 run. They would have a. And it's like okay, it wasn't like they were getting. I mean, they pulled away at the end with that 15-point lead, and even though we kind of cut it to 5, and then PJ got fouled, we'll just say, but whatever. At this point, it is what it is.
Sure.
You got to win game 3. That's it.
Yeah. And I'm sure with the gajillion dollar price tickets, we're gonna have the best Mavs fans around making noise in the arena. Not the. If that lower bowl is not standing up, if I see a bunch of Gilded Age people down there, I'm gonna be fucking pissed off.
I don't want to think. I just want to go to sleep now.
So, all right, Sam. Talk to you Wednesday then.
Have a good night, man.
All right. Coming up next, my man Brian. Brian, what's up, Bubs?
Nothing good. Not been a fun watch. I'll say that much.
I like tonight. There was some basketball stuff going on. The problem is you go to halftime and then you hear Michael Wilbon, who is just discovering who most of the Mavericks are, and they're like, Luka needs to move the ball more. And it's like, move to who? The Celtics switch everything. Do you not know what you're watching?
I don't bother watching ESPN's or ABC's halftime show. I haven't for a while. Anything that Michael Wilbon is going to be a part of, that's not anything I need to listen to. I watched this game on mute. Because I don't need to listen to.
I did too, and was cursing PJ when he got blocked by Brown there in the end because I didn't see the push in the back, and I actually had to edit out a line for my recap where I was like, PJ took that up soft as shit, and then somebody sent me the replay, and I was like, oh okay, he got pushed.
I saw it in real time. There was no way that you were going to be able to tell me that from the spot that he jumped as fast as he was going, the angle that he launched past the backboard happened because he
looked behind him. There. Don't look behind you like that, man.
He looked behind him, but he looked behind him because he felt a hand on his back. He looked like somebody's prom date getting escorted to the limo.
Fair enough.
Man, there's not much good to take from this game. I won't lie. Kyrie Irving. I don't have anything good
Lots
to say.
Lots of silence. Did you freeze?
I don't have anything good to say about him. Oh, hello? Am I here?
Yeah, you froze there for a second. You're like, I don't have anything good to say, and then pause.
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay.
Try again.
Yeah, I don't have anything good to say about Kyrie Irving. If he shoots even 40% from the field, we win this game. And Yeah, that's about all I got to say on him. That can be said in the presence of good company.
Sure.
PJ Washington for the second series of this run is our second best player. That it was cool when he was scoring like 27, not so much when it's like 17 and some tough defense. Derrick Jones Jr. was staying in front of Shea after he was doing like 5 dribble cancel moves, but 1 Jaylen Brown pump fake, and he's 5 feet in the air for some reason.
Right.
Nobody can stay in front of the ball, which is annoying. But yeah, all these dudes are jumpy, and everybody's peeing down their leg, and they're looking to their emotional leader for the entire season, and he's peeing down their leg, and then they're looking to the other emotional leader, and he doesn't want to give them the ball, and I don't understand why he would at this point.
Well, there's you're not giving, nobody's cooking. I mean, Kyrie's going to hit some shots. He's not going to continue. At least he's being aggressive. Okay. That's the passive Kyrie stuff is what kills me. He's just missing shots.
It's worse though. I don't think he's being aggressive. He is taking shots. That is a difference. Mm-hmm. He's not being aggressive because there was a play in the third quarter where I can't even remember where exactly it was. Basically, there was a play where they got in transition, and it was a perfect opportunity for Kyrie to take one of his patented transition pull-up threes, and he just didn't even look at the rim. And that's when I knew, oh yeah, he's gone. He's not coming back. Even if he gets back in the series,
I think he'll be all right. I'm not counting out that guy. I just am not. He frustrates me, but I'm not going out.
I'm not counting him out at home, but he plays like a role player in Boston.
Yeah. So we got this one. Just I don't know. I'm very close to blocking him because he doesn't understand how basketball works, and he calls me Kurt. He calls me Kurt in the thing. So he says, funny. Get ready to be blown out when those wide open threes start falling in Dallas. Keep allowing the best 3-point team in the league to get open looks. Guys, the basketball, I don't like talking about basketball as math because I think basketball is beautiful. But when you spread 5 guys around and you have to defend all around the 3-point line, you are giving up the lane or you are giving up threes. Even if you have 5 unbelievable lockdown defenders, the way the game is called, you will be able to get into the paint. You will be able to get past guys. So help defense comes and all of the guys around the 3-point line stay out there ready to catch and shoot. It's just the way the math works. So is he right? It's get ready for all the 3-pointers to fall. Absolutely. That's why the Celtics are the number 1 offense in basketball history. So it's explaining this sort of stuff to people is really painful because I don't want to call you stupid because I don't think anybody that is in this chat is stupid. But it's that's what the Celtics do to you. It's very taxing because nobody can do this. Nobody can do this on an NBA level. Nobody's done it before because the combination of drivers and shooters and athletes has not been assembled at this level. All right? That's really important to understand. That's why they're so good. They have guys on this team, they have 2 top 3 picks in Tatum and Brown. They have Porzingis, who was drafted 4th at one point, who is their 6th man. They have Al Horford, even though he's 1,000 years old, was once part of a national title team and one of the best teams in college basketball history, who is still playing because he's amazing. Haven't mentioned Drew Holiday, NBA championship level player. They're amazing. So yeah, that is likely what's supposed to happen. I wanted the Mavericks to win too. I do think the Mavericks can play better defense, but the simple fact is the Celtics force you to choose. They force you to choose what's going to happen here. And so I just don't entirely understand when people are oh, they have to play better defense by guarding the 3-point line better. You understand if they don't sell the 3-point line, then the Celtics are just going to go score at the fucking rim, which they've also been doing. But it's just I don't understand. And I'm picking on this one guy, but he's not alone in this. He's certainly not alone in this. This is how people think. They're oh, the Mavericks defense is just playing bad. No, the Celtics offense is designed to break defenses. Sorry.
And if you think that the Mavericks were just giving up those wide open threes to Drew Holiday, you haven't been watching Drew Holiday move without the ball. He's the fastest player on the court every second he's on the court, and he does not stop moving.
I hate
whether
it.
he's moving from the top of the arc with the ball, down to the wing, down to the corner, then to the dunker spot, then to the opposite corner, back up to the wing, back to the corner. Somebody has to chase him around all that time, all while we're trying to help and recover and send two guys to the ball in the paint. Like that's not that you're not meant to be able to do that with 5 people.
Right. You can't do it.
That's what it is.
That's anyway. I'm sorry, Brian. You got anything else for us?
I would like for one of our backup guards to give. I would like more Dante Exum minutes. Dante Exum hit a shot. That's cool. Please play him over Jaden Hardy. We don't need any more Jaden Hardy.
What the hell happened to him tonight? I don't remember him going into the game, and I see that he was -6.
He's just, this just isn't as serious for him. We saw it in game 1.
I do love the boy's confidence. The young man. I love the young man's confidence. I apologize. He is I love it. You just gotta love it.
I do. God, I wish it was manifesting and made shots and like playmaking opportunities. And it was against OKC. It was a bit against Minnesota. It's not happening here. And as tough as it may be on his confidence, we may need to pivot away from him and ask him to be a good teammate and just root his guys on from the bench. And then when we get the opportunity to call his number again, then maybe we go to him. But I think we need more extra minutes. We need a steadier hand as a ball handler because Kyrie still does not want to initiate offense when Luka is off the court. And if he doesn't do it, I don't trust anybody else to. So at least get somebody out there that I know is not going to cough the ball up and is going to hold their own.
I don't know, man. I don't envy kids' decision making in all this, but the only thing I've got to say is like I need people who are important to stop calling for fucking Tim Hardaway Jr. minutes.
Please.
Why are we?
Please stop. We did this in OKC. He gave us a game and a half that was good, and then he stunk every other minute that he played. He couldn't see the court against the Timberwolves. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's over.
Thanks for joining us, bud. See you soon, all right?
Yes, sir. Peace. Thanks for having me.
All right. And then I'm going to I saw this guy pop in earlier, and then there he is. Casey, welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Good. I saw you join earlier, and then it looked like you got kicked, so I'm bringing you up.
No, it's just my camera being weird. No, man. I didn't want to be one of these guys who only calls you after a win, so.
That's fine. No, yeah, and nobody listens after losses. It's my favorite.
Trying to keep you company. How you doing?
I'm all right.
I don't feel great. God, I feel like that was such a winnable game.
It was.
It really was. And I feel like how I felt after game 1 of the Clippers series, where I was like, all right, here we go. I've been watching this team. I know how good they are. I'm so excited for everybody else to see them. And then they just don't show up. And I just feel like, God, I know, and you know, because you've been watching them, they're better than this. They can do this. They are better than what they've shown. And I'm just like, I don't want to sound like the crazy. I watched the game at a bar with a bunch of friends tonight, and I was like, God, I don't want to. I promise you, guys, I've seen it. I know they can do it. I know they're better than this. But it's like almost like disappointing and offensive that they didn't show up. So I'm like, come on, I can see it. And then I see things like you were talking about. The half court thing between PJ and Luka was the capper on 2 minutes of the worst.
I'm going to be thinking. I'm going to be thinking about that for a long time.
That's the worst I've seen them play in months. And I was like, really? Now you're going to do this? This is the fourth. It was unbelievable. And then Maxey trying to go coast to coast into Porzingis was like, I was like, what are they doing? What?
Well, okay. So to be clear though, Casey, they stopped doing that this game. In game 1, 6 guys drove into Porzingis, and Porzingis was like, boom, boom, boom.
Oh yeah. They were doing it a lot in game 1, but I thought Maxey trying to go coast to coast was simultaneously the funniest and most horrifying thing I've seen. I just couldn't believe it because he stopped for a second, and I was like, oh, is he going to try and shoot the 3 maybe? And then I was like, oh, is he going to try and go to the basket? What?
That was.
El
Sporco brings up the Exum coast to coast, which was better because he didn't even get a shot off.
Yeah.
He just lost the ball out of bounds.
That one was better. I just feel you've watched this team enough. I've seen every game in the playoffs. They'll have a 5-minute, 6-minute spurt where there's just a lid on the rim. No layups will go in. No dunks they'll start missing dunks. and everything misses. And I just feel like against Boston, they're taking that time to go up by 20 or 18 or 15 or whatever. And then we're just like, they're just not hanging in and coming back. I mean, this team is resilient. I will give them that. So I don't feel like the series is over. Like, I feel like they've taken on Kidd's personality a little bit, which is like very calm and very like, okay, well, we'll come back. Like, this is in the end. We're down at halftime. That's fine. Like, I've never felt down by 10 at halftime that they were out of any game.
Sure.
You know, so I feel like, okay, down 2 games in a series. I don't feel like they're out of the series, but I just really wanted this one for my own anxiety. I was like, this is about me, guys. I really want this one. And it just felt like it was there. It felt like it was there. You know, like, I just feel like Kyrie almost needs the treatment of like, listen, if it's not happening for you, we've got to move away from him, because like once he misses 4 of those driving layups in a row, like they just need to stop trying to make it happen, you know?
Yeah, a little too cute for his own good. 2 straight games.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But I know they can do better. I just want to see it. I just want to see it once. Right? So I can tell my friends, hey, I'm not a crazy person.
I don't know. Well, I mean, you know, like, they're in the NBA Finals. And it's like, I definitely don't want to do the like happy to be here shit, but
I don't feel that way either. Like, I really thought they had a chance. I still do think they have a chance to win the finals.
No,
like, I don't at all. I just feel like, God, if they get swept, I'm like, what happened? Like, they're not that bad. This is not like a team that's just happy to be there. They should be more competitive, and they're not doing it. I don't know. I mean, I didn't feel like they weren't competitive tonight. I felt like they gave it, you know, and I felt like the game was there. And I don't know. Game 1, it just felt like maybe the lights were too big for them in that first quarter, you know. And this one, it was like they had it in their hands. Like, they just needed like 3 more plays, 4 more plays, and they got the opposite of that.
That's right.
You know.
Casey, thanks so much for joining.
Bring it down, buddy.
No, we're all down. This is except for the Boston fans that are having a good time in the comments. But you know what? You know, if that's how you want to spend your time as a winning fan, that's good for you. I would recommend other hobbies. You know, go touch some grass. But hey, that's the internet for you.
Well,
Casey, have a good one. Talk soon.
Thanks, buddy. All right.
All right, we got Klotzman. What's up, buddy?
Yo, hey Kirk. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Yeah, definitely a rough loss. I was over with some friends watching the game tonight. Had some wings, some beers. We had somebody had a Mavericks celebration cake. We cut it after the first quarter because we were not nervous. We're like, we're going to cut this while we have the lead.
That's right.
But yeah, I was commenting earlier, like I was happy in the third quarter. Like, definitely don't expect Gafford to be, you know, Shaq down there, but like they definitely kept going away from putting Porzingis or Horford on the perimeter and those screens. Just if they keep taking away our lobs, it's like let's play some bully ball. I mean, Tatum's not going to block Gafford's shots.
So Tatum is a lot taller than you think he is. Look, like, he's taller than Gafford. He's 6'11". Gafford's 6'9". Tatum is a strong dude. I don't know how much you can go to the well there. They tried it in game 1.
Yeah, they were 2 of 2 or 3 of 3. And I just like at least the shaking it up. Like, no, I don't think it's like the answer by any means, but just shaking it up to like kind of get them thinking, do we want to keep that matchup? Like, can we do that 4 or 5 times in a span of a few minutes to break them? And it's not just that; it's also like PJ Washington with Derek White on him, right? So it could be a different looks from different players. And the fact that they keep doing these high, the Mavericks, our offense predicated on that screen and roll, that we don't have their big involved in their shot blocker, especially if it's KP in that. And I just feel like, especially in game 1, we were trying to go for like home run hits every time with dunks, and they were just getting stuffed. This time I saw us like do some more layups, which were there. And I'm hoping we can figure out a way to take advantage of that, because they do switch on everything and they've got amazing defenders, but there are mismatches to be had. I was happy that Luka got back to like his, being able to make assists, being able to make stuff work. And that one pass that he had, who was that to? Was that to Lively or PJ? I can't remember now. It's all a blur. Like that behind the back pass was just gorgeous. On the cut in the, what was that, third quarter, I want to say.
Tatum, I'm sorry, guys arguing with me in the chat. Wrong. Tatum is smaller than Gafford in height and wingspan. Guys, I promise Tatum is bigger. Like what they get measured at in their rookie year, like Tatum was, do you remember, Jason? Like Bill Simmons used to call him like he was 19 forever. Like Tatum is enormous. Such a big guy. He just is such a big guy. Like him and there's a video of him and Lively at the All-Star game, and they're like right next to each other, and it's like, holy shit, this guy's so big. Anyway.
But yeah, no, I just, I wish we would exploit the mismatches a little bit more when we can, especially if he's already down low, like if he can get position, at least to shake things up and make them shake up their rotations. Because even Luka was so hot for a while there. They started doing the 2 on the ball, like the thing that you and Josh talk about, where it's like he breaks your will and like your ability to just fundamentally stick to your game plan, because you can't watch Luka hit triple or double after double after double with no help. And they started to do that. And of course, he immediately got lobs to Lively. He got open cuts to DJJ. So like, I think that, and I'm just wondering when Kai's going to show up. Like, I feel like we did a lot of things right. We were there. They were missing shots and then making the ones that they shouldn't have made, like the Pritchard 3 from
right. Oh yeah, they were missing some. Like the ones that were surprising to me were like the reloads on the offensive rebounds. Those are the ones that are like backbreaking, and the Celtics just didn't hit those tonight.
Yeah, this one got away from us. This doesn't hurt. This doesn't feel like 2006 Game 3, but it's definitely a missed opportunity. Like, this definitely stings. I'm gonna make a bold prediction. So I will be one of the maniac fans on Wednesday. I will be losing my mind. And so I will be booing the hell out of Kristaps Porzingis. Honestly, if he goes for another block at the rim, like slam his hand into the back of the rim, break his hand, get him out. I don't care. Fuck him. But I will be booing nonstop, like an insane person. And I think Kai just needs home cooking. I've always had a theory that he thrives off of like good vibes. And so hearing the nonstop booing and the nonstop Kyrie sucks chant, he's got to find a way to get rid of that. And I think starting in Boston was the worst way for him to get in a groove in this series. So we win Game 3, we eke out a win in Game 4, and then we bring it back to Boston for an epic Game 5 where we'll get back on top.
I hope Porzingis plays. Missoula said he was fine in post game, but
I mean, if he does, great. Like I
like watching the dude healthy. He's a good basketball player.
He is a really good basketball player, but I still want to boo the crap out of him just because of the smile and the little like that he did in Game 1, and just all his crap. So also elbowing the crap out of some of our guys down low.
See, but that's where you don't let switches on a 7-3 guy happen. Like that just, Josh Green, when he got kneed in the nards, he was so upset about that. It's like, well, how about you don't crowd the 7-3 shooter? That's my thought. Yeah. Anyway, talk soon, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Kirk.
All right, we got back-to-back Glens coming up. So we're going to go to Glenn, California. Glenn, what's going on, man?
Las Vegas, actually.
Las Vegas, sorry.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, Kirk. How are you tonight?
All right.
I'm bad. I'm going to – I used to be a host on Playboy Radio. I hate when people call in unprepared, but I'm kind of unprepared.
You're allowed.
Yeah. Okay, first off, the defense. We got to give Jason Kidd credit for having the team prepared to play defense. They held them to 105. That's not bad. KP got held to 12 points, and then he'll be on the ASMA field next game. I'll be surprised if he even plays. I'm not knocking KP, but that's who he is.
Sure.
He's the guy who you're not going to count on him for 2 or 3 games in a row. But this is what I'm pissed about, and I'm sure you've talked about this, but for us to win at this point, if you're going to play defense the way you should, then your other guys who are not named Luka Doncic have to show up. Mm-hmm. Kyrie, he had his open looks. I mean, Celtics are the best team we faced by far. I mean, they're really good. But Kyrie had his open looks and he missed them. Josh Green looked like he was simply just not. He needs to see a sports psychiatrist. All these guys, we need a sports psychiatrist.
But this is the Josh Green experience comes down to if it's a cerebral basketball game, I'm not sure if I want him in there. Josh Green is an agent of chaos. He is not a thing that happens in a game where you're really the pace is slowing down. Like, because his shots are wide fucking open and they were bad.
Okay, but DJJ, Maxi Kleba,
that DJJ missed three. That was like it looked like a wide left field goal attempt. That was remarkable.
And they were just giving like Maxi Kleba shots like we were giving Giddy shots, and Kleba just would line them up and miss. And these guys need to see a sports psychologist before Wednesday and say, what mantra can I say in my head that helps me tune out the fact that this is the NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. And Lively. God damn it. Lively's playing like a rookie out there.
Don't you hate it? Don't you hate it when the rookie plays like a rookie? It's really upsetting.
Yeah. I mean, it gives you some hope for next year and the year after and whatever. But the moment Lively needs some kind of sports psychiatrist to say, listen, man, you're not a rookie anymore. Get in there and just be you. Because none of these guys Luka had his moments of failure, the missed free throws. But I mean, Luka did his thing. He was a warrior out there. Gafford was a warrior out there. PJ was a warrior out there. But no one else on the team deserves to even say they played in this game tonight.
You just got to be ready to play. These guys look to, I don't want to say after some of the things they pulled off, I would have thought that a second straight game of looking like the lights were too bright.
Yeah.
That's all. And I'm sorry, some of the guys they didn't look prepared.
Yes, that's true.
So
I know you got to get more people to go. You want to go home. I'm just saying I wore my shirt. This is unwashed.
I get it. I did the same. I changed out of my He Has Risen t-shirt before the podcast, and I had worn that for multiple games.
All right. Yeah. Stick to whatever you've got that has been working for the winning games. Put your dog in the exact position that he's supposed to be in or whatever. Do whatever you got to do. We all need to use whatever weapons we've got. Because Celtics, I want to say this too. The Celtics are really, really good. Right? Yeah. I mean, we do have to give credit. There's nothing. This wasn't a referee game, and it wasn't really that the Celtics that we missed out on stuff. It's just we didn't elevate. And the Celtics did, and they're really good. And, hopefully game 3, we can find it, whatever it is that needs to be found.
Same thing, man. Talk soon.
Thank you, Kirk. Have a good one.
All right. Then we got my other friend, Glenn. Glenn, what's up, man?
What is up, Kirk?
Oh, just doing my best moderating the comments here in the YouTube. People getting a little spicy. Just hanging out here talking basketball. What's going on with you?
Okay, so this team that we're facing is phenomenal, and they have a suffocating defense. But I want to hit on a couple quick topics. One, I don't think the challenge that Kid did was a bad challenge.
No, that didn't make sense. I didn't understand that one.
It was just out of the norm of what Jason Kidd normally challenges. And, I don't know. Maybe if he would have had that challenge later on during the PJ foul in the back, maybe some of the little crunch time moments. We need to hold on to our challenges, basically. We can't throw them away for arbitrary fouls. It won't even get us the ball, even if we do win them. The second thing is our bigs are ineffective only just because of how Boston is playing us, right? They space us out. They take away our superpower. We can't even crash the glass. I can't tell you how many times I've seen their guards come from the weak side or the strong side and grab a rebound that is already in Derrick Jones Jr. hands or Gafford's hands. So, and I know this is gonna sound like blasphemy, but I only see the way this will work is to bring our bigs in situationally when someone like Peyton Pritchard comes into the game, or when Al Horford comes into the game. We need shot creation. We need ball handling. because they're switching everything, and we need someone who has an ability or has previously had an ability to shoot the ball. That's when you guys were talking a little bit about, sitting down Jaden. Jaden's the only one that's not gun shy. Dante Exum looks to get down the court as fast as he can and then flip it to whoever's in the vicinity next to him. He does not look to shoot. He almost looked like he didn't want to shoot the pass that Luka sent to him with the amazing wrap around the back pass and the 3-point shot. So what I am saying is, of course, our normal bigs, Gafford and Lively, do play. Kleber's ineffective. We may have to lean toward more of the PJ at 5 small ball. With the 3-guard scenario. And I know that sounds horrible because we don't have a lot of really strong ball handlers. But Luka, Kai, Jaden, because he's willing to shoot and he can dribble somewhat. DJJ and Washington. Because all of them are willing to at least to put the ball on the floor. They're switching everything. We're going to have to drive and kick. Like Luka and Kyrie are going to have to drive.
But they're not, there is no one to kick to because they're essentially sitting on all the corner stuff. You watch what Luka did today where he was, at first quarter in particular, where he hit a lot of those tough mid-range shots from the free throw line where he was spinning. Almost always, every series we play prior, you got guys that cheat 1 to 2 steps in. Just that 1 6-inch gap is all Luka needs. And the Celtics don't give that. And so I really don't think it'll matter. The Celtics are fine with Luka scoring 50 points. They really are.
But the problem, Kurt, is they're playing 5-on-4 because they're not guarding the big man. I mean, they're really not because he's not a lob threat. The way their defense is set up, I understand what you're saying. There is no one to kick to, but they did send help a few times this game more than they did last time.
Yeah, they did. No, they definitely did.
Because Luka made them. Now, here's what I'm saying. They still take away the lob threat when they send 5-on-4 because they help from the corner. So that basically leaves about 1 to 2 lobs a game if we are lucky that we can hit. Because they're playing 5-on-4 because our bigs are ineffective. Now, if we have a 5th ball handler / shooter, I'm not saying he's going to be effective. I'm saying it's not going to be 5-on-4 because when they occasionally do help and send Derek White or when they send their big, we have someone that has made a 3 before. Because if we have Lively or Gafford, there's only one option. They can't drive. They can't shoot.
So they can't unleash the Lively 3-point shooter. Throws up the draft boards. Now's the time to unleash the secret weapon. Lively can pop 3s. Let's go.
If we're gonna do that, then we might as well go all the way to the left. Let's go ahead and put Omax in the game.
I don't look, man. With some of the weird shit going on, I don't hate it.
Well, there's also an inability for our defenders to not be getting beaten off a first step, which I am perplexed because it's not like we haven't played high quality athletes in these previous series.
Sure.
But for some reason, and I don't know if it's because they're playing toward the baseline or they're shading, when we play like this, we would be able to funnel them to the bigs.
Yeah.
If there is no big in the lane, then there is no benefit to having Lively or Gafford. I know this sounds like blasphemy because they have no defensive help and they also serve no purpose on offense in this series. I'm not saying go 5 out, but what I am saying is I think we need more shot creators, ball handlers than post up lob threats in this series.
I think what they would do there is that they would put in Tim, and I don't want that. I don't want them to put in Hardaway.
Well, it's either lose playing 5-on-4 or give yourself a chance with potential. I actually would hate Hardy to be the first option because he is not gun shy and he is somewhat. The last game he hit 13 points in 11 minutes, and I know a lot of it was garbage time.
8 of them were in garbage time.
I know, but but we have to have some type of way to move the ball around because when we are very fortunate, Porzingis went out of the game because it opened up more opportunity for offense. But if they're just stretching us out and we don't have any on-ball defenders that have enough foot speed or for some reason have forgotten they have foot speed to keep up, I would rather go smaller. I heard the broadcast, and I know we don't listen to the broadcast or pay a lot of attention to, that as erratic as Green was, his minutes on Tatum caused disruption because he guarded Tatum a little bit, and Tatum did not score as easily on Green. Now, I don't know if that's a long-standing issue, but this 7'1" Lively that I love and this 6'10" Gafford, tell me what they do in this series that makes Boston not have to leave them alone and put more stress on our offense and more stress on our defense.
Yeah, I can understand your point. I just don't know if they'll break. I just don't know if they'll abandon what got them here that hard. I just don't know. So we'll see, man.
We'll see, brother.
Thanks so much for hanging out and waiting.
I'll talk to you on Wednesday.
That's right. After a win. All right. Talk soon, man.
All right, man.
Let's see here. We're gonna go to Tamam. What's up?
Yes, hello, Kirk.
Welcome.
Thank you. I just want to say one thing. Not one thing, but the first thing I want to say is I am not a big X and O's guy, and I do not understand details of basketball. But I know a good coaching when I see it. And I think Joe Mazzulla is a great coach.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, because every time Tatum drives the ball, he always have easy options to give the ball to, and he had 12 assists. I don't think that is Tatum's geniuses, but I think it's always the easy option.
He had direct options to make good passes to, and then they score off those passes. Yeah.
It's just frustrating to watch. You cannot stop it, and that is a good coaching.
Yeah.
A second thing that the adjustment for the Mavs, I think they have to make it just play better and be smarter.
That I agree.
It's as simple as that. I don't think they can do anything else. It's just some low IQ moments that cost them the game, and just wide open shots that they will make any other time. They did not make.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I know everybody is picking on Kyrie because he did not take that transition three, and I don't want to be harsh on him, but I agree with them because he's been doing this all season long. You can't just go from what you have been doing all season because you're in the finals. I don't get it.
I understand. I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I would not say that I'm frustrated because of this loss. I think it's tough. It's tough, but I think they can tie the series in Dallas.
Would like to see it. I'm not ready to be done talking about basketball just yet.
Yeah, it's actually a fun game.
It is a fun game. This is why I dedicate way too much of my life to it.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. One last thing. I have been hearing media people talking that Luka needs to take maybe 30 to 35 shots for the Mavs to win. And I was like, yeah, he might need to. But today he was just like, looked gassed at the end of the third quarter.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think he can do that. I don't think that.
Well, I mean, if Kyrie starts to hit a few more shots and they're able to steal a few more minutes from Luka, these things all have like compounding effects, right? So if Luka can play 38 minutes instead of 42, does he have the gas to put up a few more shots at the right moments? I think maybe. I do.
I don't know because they were just go at him on defense. So yeah, if he's taking 35 shots and doing everything on defense, yeah, he can do it. Maybe he can take 35 shots, but he will make 15.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I appreciate you joining. Talk soon, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Then last but not least, we have I'm pretty sure this is Henry. Henry, what's up, man?
What's going on, my guy?
Thanks for staying up late. What you got for us?
It's all good. I ain't got too much, man. I just wanted to come on here and say fuck Kyrie. Like,
All right, man. Like I feel bad for him more than anything because this is different. This is different than shying away. All right, because what the fucking world are we living in where I'm defending Kyrie at 11:30 at night in June?
Nah, fam. I don't ever want to see him wear another Kobe jersey again. Kobe is turning over and disappointed in him right about now. You're supposed to. Why are you letting this racist ass Boston town get into your head? I knew you were in the head when I thought it'd be louder in here. Shut the fuck up. I don't care about it being louder in here. You need to hoop. So the simple fact that you said that lets me know that they're already in your hand before tip off.
Yeah.
So Kobe would have came in here and shut the crowd up. You too small. I need to go back to when he got fined when he was in Brooklyn, flipping people off, telling people to suck as you know what. I need that back. But hey, at least we stay poised, right? Spiritually, mentally, and emotionally okay. We just got to play okay, and everybody play it. I don't want to hear that poised shit. I don't want to see no tribe after they're on Twitter. I don't want to see none of that. I don't care about no peace, love, and positivity. Bro, this is playground, fam. I'm better than you. Like, hoop. Like, I need you to hoop, fam. I'm going to send him Steph's Game 6 highlights versus Boston in the 2022 finals when he absolutely eviscerated that drop coverage. Yeah. I don't know why Kai isn't doing it. He's too busy trying to do one-on-one to prove that he's still better than Tatum and Brown like he did when he was in Boston.
He had 2 possessions that stood out to me where he just got stonewalled only to kick it out to Luka with like 7 seconds on the shot clock. And I'm like, dude, that's
why. Is it a Kai thing? Is Kid not drawing up enough action to get him in enough off-ball motions and screens? Like, we've seen the formula. Like, Steph runs off 17 illegal screens. Why is Kai insistent on trying to do an ISO when we can just run him off screens the same as Steph?
Yeah. No, I understand that. I do.
And shout out to Brian. I fuck with Brian. He come on here a lot. I don't know why he wants Exum in. Exum did the same thing Kleber did. He took it coast to coast and fumbled the damn thing. Like, he has no left hand.
He hit a shot, though, and that was pretty exciting.
He did what was on his job qualification, his job description, the basic qualifications. Like, it's like funny. Identity access management. That's like the very bottom of the barrel. Like, what is he doing here? So that's it. I just want to come on here and rant. I got to find a new player now, so I'm on the search.
We'll talk soon, man. Have a good one.
See you, man.
All right, Jacob. Welcome to the show. You're gonna take us out of here. What's going on?
Oh, I'm just sad. I like other people were saying earlier. I mean, it feels like we definitely could have won this game. By the way, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, cool. I mean, Kyrie. I mean, I'm not gonna, with respect to the last guy, I'm not like gonna hate on him or anything. But like, I feel that these important games are why that we brought him here, and it just sucks to see him come up short. And I don't know if it's you, but the sports psychology thing, like I definitely think that he's got to be in his own head when he plays in Boston, especially. He's 0 for 12 now, his last 12 games against the Celtics.
Yep. At least in Boston. At least in Boston. I can't remember if it's the whole thing.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's not really just even a bad game. I think like the Celtics just clearly live rent free in his head. Like I don't get like. I don't know. Like I love Kyrie since he's been here, but there's just kind of really no excuse for that. And those are 2 losses away from being on the wrong side of history. I mean, I'll just say that. Like I'm not giving up on the series or anything. Like this could be reminiscent of, the Phoenix series. Sure. Where we lost the first 2 games and then won 4 out of the next 5. But I mean, I'm not gonna hate on Kyrie completely because it just feels like
you need him. Yeah, you need him.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, like, I'm not going to hate on Kyrie completely, but it just feels like another game where we just, I don't know, like PJ was competing, it's his first finals and everything. He's doing okay, but, man, the role players just need to step up and hit the shots that Luka is spoon-feeding them, man. Because, I mean, the bad news is that, well, the good news is that we're not hitting those shots. We were 1 for 16 on threes outside of Luka, and the one that Exum hit.
And the one was PJ, and it was like in the first quarter, and it was an overly challenged shot, and it was like, oh man, maybe PJ's gonna have a game, and I was like,
oh, here we go, and it's like, well, that was the last one, but that was they're good looks too. I was saying to my brother when we were texting during the game. It's just like, well, because you said it earlier, Boston's okay with Luka dropping 50 on them, as long as no one else beats him and whatnot. But it's like Luka is still spoon feeding open looks. Like,
yeah,
our defense has won us games in the past, but other teams have struggled to score, and Boston's just not going to. Like, they're too good.
Yeah.
And like the annoying thing about the 5-out that they play is that it allows for long rebounds.
Yes.
Which we
those are basically
them.
50-50 balls. Like it's
Right.
very difficult because it's hard to be mad at the Mavericks for not getting rebounds that bounce all the way out to the 3-point line.
Right. And like we out rebounded them, but it's just those back breaking rebounds too, like where they their second chance points. I don't know exactly how many they got, but I'm sure it was I'm sure it was more than the 7-point difference of the game. I would be willing to bet that.
Right.
I don't know. Like the other guys just got to step up, man. It sounds like I don't want to go full doomer, and like the people, like I love hanging out in the subreddit, and people were bitching and moaning about the foul on the no call on PJ, and it was probably a foul.
It was. Breen even the announcer, like that'll be in the last 2-minute report. But I don't know. Like if at most he would have hit the free throws, Mavs be up down 4.
Right.
And like they shouldn't have been in that position to begin with.
Right.
That's where I live.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like, man, if the bottom line is that we're just hitting more shots, and also Peyton Pritchard hit that bullshit 3 at the end of the third, it's like, that's where we could be. But I was going to say the good news is that we're shooting trash, but the bad news is that Boston also shot trash.
That's right.
So, my takeaway is that, I mean, Kyrie's got to be better, honestly. And then my second takeaway is the role players got to hit their shots, man. Because, Luka, surely he can't do this every game, can he? Love him to death. He's great and everything. He's having legacy games, but, like, you're going to have to pick him up at some point during the series, I would think, if you're going to, steal, like, protect home court. Like, I don't know, like, if Kyrie doesn't spend, 75% of his minutes looking like Tim, then we might have had a chance to win this game.
There's something to that, man.
So maybe he needs to sage himself. I don't know. So,
all right, man. Well, I'm glad you're here. Defend me in the Mavs subreddit. They don't like me there.
No, I get that. Trust me. I don't think anybody likes anybody in the subreddit.
No, that's true. That's why, like, every time I pop in there, it's someone being like, "This Kirk Henderson motherfucker hates the Mavericks and is the worst person to do." And it's like, okay, can we just lighten up? Good God.
My favorite
was some asshole that went to middle school with me. It was like, Kirk was a bitch in 1998. It's like fucking hell. Can we all just stop?
I think the only media personality anybody likes in the subreddit is Slightly, which I love Slightly,
which like Slightly biased is a riot. And but the thing is, I remember him when the Mavericks were crappy. And he was way meaner than I've ever been. And I feel like I'm just like, wait. And like all the Mavs people love him. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he like accused Jason Kidd of like committing war crimes. It's all a bit, but it's like,
It's especially at times like this, everybody's bitching at.
Oh, for sure. It's so easy to do. All right, man. Thanks for hanging out late.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right. Rain, what's going on, man?
I'm here to spread some copium.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, I had the thought after the first game, if they are going to avoid the switch to the bigs because Tatum is switched onto the bigs, why not just go at Tatum?
Mm-hmm.
And Luka did it. And for the first half, when he had the energy, it worked. No one was stopping him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. PJ has a nice little floater game. If we can keep that going and get some threes dropping, we would think that the role players will play better at home. So that hopefully might counteract some Boston, return to form from their 3-point shooting variance.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of hopium to be had, to be honest.
What I sort of think happens is that the Mavericks 3-point shooting swings at the same time the Celtics 3-point shooting swings, and we go down in like 127 to 133 kind of game, and then we're all just like, "Bah!"
Yeah, it does look like for a lot of these players that the lights are a bit too bright at the moment. To anyone who's saying that this is why Omax should have been ready, yes, we should count our lucky stars that we have one rookie that is somewhat playable in the finals.
I mean, yeah, for sure. No, you're right.
To have two would be ridiculous. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah,
but we're not that. From this game, from what we saw, we're also not that far away.
Yes.
Not that far away. So, they can get there. Maybe they don't win the series, whatever. They got there. I'm not going to say we should just be happy to be there. But also, just if we look at this roster, they're all roughly around Luka's age.
Right. No, that's true.
The thing is I don't see this as our team's one opportunity. This is their first shot. Luka can bring them here again, and even if Kyrie ages out, who's to say they won't be able to bring another second star to come in and be that second heat. There's yeah, okay, I didn't have too much to bring in to be
it's all right, man.
About, but hey, we got to try and find something.
I just tweeted a bad joke that the Boston Celtics have. You gave me this idea. I was thinking about this. The Boston Celtics have released their parade route to the media, because that's what fucking Mark Cuban did back in 2006 when the Mavericks went up 2-0. I mean, it was like, I don't think he released it. It was like an accident that somebody stumbled across it, if I remember correctly. But that was not good. And then the Mavericks lost 4 in a row. So
here's the thing: they could go back. The role players could play good. It could be.
That's what you'd like to see, man. That's what you would like to see.
Anyway, I'll let Team Kyrie captain come back in there.
Yeah. All right, man. Talk soon.
See you, man.
Okay, we're gonna go with Henry. He had one more thought.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guy. Such a nice fellow. I appreciate you. All right, so I apologize. I kept saying wait to get to the playoffs. Kyrie, you gonna get to the playoffs? Just playoff Kyrie, playoff Kyrie. I look like a dumbass. So I apologize for that. Second, I can't believe I defended this guy in conversations with Curry. I will never put him in the same breath as Curry again. I apologize to the people of Maverick Nation. That is it. You guys enjoy your night. Kirk, and love to spend time with your family. Relax. Just do your thing. Don't even worry about it. He's a glorified fucking Patrick Beverly. $120 million for Patrick Beverly is absolutely disgusting.
I have a bizarre week ahead of me. My wife is going out of town because we planned this stuff. I didn't plan for the Mavericks to be in the finals. So this Wednesday night game, we're all keeping our fingers crossed. 2 things. First, that the Mavericks win. Second, that my children stay asleep, because otherwise we're going to have, see, like to my left and my right, there will be like both the baby and the 8-year-old wandering in here being like, let's podcast, Dad. That's just the way it's going to go. Hey, man, thanks so much for hanging out.
See you, man.
All right. Guys, if you can't be good, be careful. Everybody have a better start to your week than the Dallas Mavericks. Everyone have fun. It's just sports. It's what brings us together, and it's what tears us apart. I am ready to be hurt again. Everybody have a great evening. Go Mavs.